Hello, everyone. Welcome to Unboxed God, where we detox from religion and discover the God who refuses to fit inside the boxes we were given. I'm Tolu Sarah Johnson, and here we explore who God really is beyond fear, beyond formulas, and beyond everything we were taught to perform. If you're hungry for a real relationship with Him, you are in the right place. Let's dive in. So we're progressing to chapter 5, learning to rest without guilt. Yes, rest isn't quitting, it is trusting. Religion trains you to hustle for God. Relationship teaches you to rest in God. Yet many of us feel more guilty sitting still than we do burning ourselves out in the name of ministry. Yes, we think if I'm not doing something spiritual, God won't be pleased with me. But here's the truth: rest is the highest form of worship because it proves you trust the Father's heart. Even remember, the Bible says on the Sabbath, God rested. Resting is very important because when rest feels dangerous, there's something wrong. The first time I tried to rest, my soul panicked. Yes, I thought, even still now, I struggle with rest, but I'm learning to rest in my own way. Sitting quietly with God felt like neglect. Turning off the spiritual productivity switch felt wrong. Silence felt like failure to me because I wasn't doing something. And that's because religion taught me to value busyness over belonging. It taught me to value activity over authenticity. Taught me to value motion over connection. And I've been disciplined into exhaustion. I wore tiredness like badge of honor. Yes, and if I was drained, I thought I must be holy. And if I had energy, I assumed I was slacking. So, religion makes you proud when you are drowning, and grace teaches you how to breathe again. So, are you going to lift your head up and embrace the grace? Because rest is the most misunderstood commandment. Yes, God never said, "Thou shalt strive tirelessly for me." He said, "Be still and know that I am God." Psalm 46 verse 10. And what did he do? He built rest into the rhythm of creation. Day 1, light. Day 2, water. Day 3, land. Day 4, stars. Day 5, animals. Day 6, humanity. And then day 7, rest. And that is why the Jews, they take that rest day so important that they've turned it to another God on its own. But they intentionally force themselves to rest. So maybe you need to get to a state that you start forcing yourself at the beginning. You will get used to it because rest wasn't added at the end of his work. He added rest to teach us how to live in his work. God didn't rest because he was tired. He rested because he was satisfied. And what if your rest is meant to say the same thing? Yes. What if your rest is to say, God is enough? I don't need to strive. Your rest should not come because you're exhausted. Your rest should come as part of routine. That's what I'm learning. Don't think I've gotten it right yet because that's still one thing I struggle with. I struggle with rest, but I'm learning to be better. And when doing is easier than being, there's a problem. Because I found out something uncomfortable. I didn't know who I was without work. If I wasn't producing, if I wasn't helping, if I wasn't serving, if I wasn't fixing, who was I? Because performance had given me identity. And rest forced me to face myself. And that's when the Father gently asked, will you still believe you are loved? Even when you're doing nothing. Matthew, my friend, has learned that now. He knows that he is allowed to rest. He doesn't have to work every time. I didn't know how to answer. Yes, I didn't know how to answer when he said, will you still believe that you are loved even when doing nothing? Because the honest truth was, before I didn't believe. So he answered for me, you are loved most when you're simply mine. Yes, And that's why Papa said, I cherish people that just have the ministry of just sitting at my feet because I've got so many Marys. It's matter I need. And that was the same thing my husband emphasized when I spoke to him recently. He said, Tolu, it's the idea of being able to rest at his feet. That is so important. But that is what a lot of people struggle with. They struggle with rest. So, rest is trust. Rest says God will provide even when I stop working. God will speak even if I stop talking. God will hold me even if I stop holding everything together. Rest is an act of rebellion. That's what I've come to understand. That I have to actively rest. Actively rest against all the church noises. Actively rest from going to Sunday service. Actively rest from prayer meeting. Actively rest from night vigil. I do not care. And to them it is a rebellion, but I'm happy to participate in that rebellion because it has to be against the lie that everything depends on you. Yes, rest is faith lying down. And rest heals what performance breaks. So when I stopped striving, I realized how tired I truly was. Not physically, spiritually. There was a version of me that had never known peace. Always a bit anxious. Always preparing for the next spiritual task. Always trying to be enough. But when I let myself rest, my heart softened. My prayers deepened. My joy returned. My connection with God became real again. Not because I improved, but because I finally stopped trying. And it is in rest I can learn to hear Him. It is in rest I can grow in intimacy with Him. It is in rest I can know His heart better. It is in rest I can be of help to Him better. So rest is alignment. You were created to live from love, not for love. Rest corrects that. You stop saying, I must accomplish more for God. And you start saying, I trust God, who has already accomplished everything for me. But that doesn't mean you should sit down and do nothing, but you do it from a place of rest. So what the Father says about your rest here are His words that change everything. I am not impressed by how much you do. I am moved by how much you trust. You don't need to hold me up with your worship. I am the one holding you. Rest is the loudest I love you your heart can speak. Yes. And rest is not a break from spirituality. Rest is where spirituality begins. So as we close this chapter, rest isn't laziness. It's faith. Rest isn't stepping away from God. It is falling into Him. Rest is worship. Rest is trust. Rest is surrender. And for the first time in a long time, you can rest. Allow your soul to breathe. Allow that chain of having to do and do. Allow it to fall off. Allow it to no longer be part and parcel of you. It will take time, but give yourself time to get used to rest. And the more you rest, the more you learn the rhythm of freedom. And I hope this chapter has blessed you. God bless.